this is developing for the AI agents. It's like the AI guy, the bots that say they are fetching all
This is
this
amazing.
data from you. So this is a protocol that people can leverage and add into their apps today. So if anybody's interested, go and check them out.
Right on.
Yeah. Oh, that's good.
Cool.
Oh, you know what? I did so that's all we needed to talk about for X402, right? I think that's great stuff. There's a lot developing. It's super exciting. And I love that there's those tools there to walk you through actually getting an agent, getting agent endpoint set up. That's amazing that they have that available. I was not aware of that until right now.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I didn't know that they had that exactly like that.
I guess they mentioned several times on the call, and I'm in their group, so I kind of know. But yeah, if you don't know, go to the Stacks forum and click on the AI BTC working group, and in the resources section, just go to their main website actually, and it's on a landing page. If you just scroll down from 0 to building your own stuff. All right. Cool. I'll move on to talking about Hadi's stuff. Hadi, you still there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Cool. I think you talked about mapping out the processes, right?
Yeah. So it was more about how do we get processes mapped, because it makes it easier for people coming in. So if you look at Terrence coming in, he doesn't know where to start, how to go, what do we do, where do what steps do I need to take?
So there's with Zero Authority now with you guys, Zero is actually creating a platform on the Zero Authority website of the SIP tracker. So I think the idea is, if we can get as much of the step-by-step process onto map out, but via a web interface rather than in a guide, because we can write all the guides we want, and there is a guide actually, but people are not going to use that, and it's just always go back. Okay, I can send you to the guide, but it's not going to sink in. I think it's probably a better process that we have the process step by step on Zero Authority DAO, which I kind of agree. So I think the current trend would be to map them out like 1 to 5, step 1 to 5 or something like that on the Zero Authority website, so that we can just send the people like Tim to Zero Authority. Hey, step number 1, make a forum post. Step number 2, blah, blah, blah. So that is actually happening with Zero Authority DAO and Stacks Foundation behind the background.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that's a huge step forward, having a place just to send people when they express they're interested and don't know where to start. Having a simple interface that guides them through that process makes a ton of sense.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's live yet. But
it's not live, but we're gonna need. We're gonna need to. It is there. We just need to map a bit more. So this is just a dashboard.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of background work that still needs to be built out, and for us, from the SIP, only putting my SIP hat on, like deputy, is that we have to map the process and understand how it works from our perspective. And putting it in one place is great, a central place, but it's, in order for it to work, we need to understand how it works, and then how do we want it to work. So there are two steps here. It's how does it work today, and how do we want it to work?
So that's a great segue into, because Zenitron recently proposed a SIP. He's a little bit ahead of the farther along the process than Timothy with his proposal. So he went it started with making that proposal in the forum, getting some feedback, once Zenitron felt he was comfortable with the feedback, he went and made the pull request or the PR in the GitHub. And now, actually, as of this morning, he mentioned that there was a lot of conversation. He feels really good. The reviewers have provided him with a lot of information, questions, suggestions. He has over 30 comments in the last 2 weeks on his PR, which actually I have right here. I'll just scroll through it real quick to show you guys. But that's probably the process in a nutshell. Oh, here, you got it up. I'm sorry. I'll switch back.
Yeah. I think the process is what we described. What we just talked through. I think that's a good process. Like, make sure it's being
presented on the forum first. Get conversation.
And also, like, if they can come on the SIP call, right, to talk about it, just to introduce their idea.
Come on the SIP
and
call.
Also it acts as a place to shepherd them where to go.
Get into the other working groups, right? So we can like have some conversations on the Clarity working group call or on the SIP call and or on the AI, if it's an AI related something or other, or if it's something else. You know, sometimes it might be more community oriented or something like that, governance oriented, and there might be other places to get those conversations going. But on the forum, make sure that it's on the forum, that there's conversations there. We're driving the conversation to the forum. And then from there, when the author who's suggesting the SIP feels comfortable with moving forward, then they go make the PR. Then we're getting the SIP, the reviewers' feedback on the technical side, what has to happen, how does this look, and then once it's up to the SIP author, I guess, at that point. So where does the process go from there? I think is really what needs to be identified, because we have that beginning process, but at what point does it go from PR to cab review and actual community vote, assuming one's needed, and then like where does it go from this part?
Yeah, so between us, it would be, I think the person feeding back here could be anybody. It could be me, but it just so happens is Werner, who is one of the SIP editors. So I think the person who actively monitors this needs to make a call. When is it ready to be passed on, to be voted by the cabs? Because I can already see, like right now, it's not ready to be voted by the CAB because there are some unresolved comments or issues. Basically, you know, I don't know if you remember SIP 31. I think it's already here. But basically, if you look at the SIP 31 PR, let's just double check. Here. I can't find it now. But anyway, my point is SIP 31 there was a lot of comments, and basically it takes the author to address those. And once majority, like overwhelming majority, are addressed or resolved, that's the word they use in the GitHub, then I think it will be more or less ready to be voted. But I think that's a judgment call by the SIP editors. So in this case, you can see the SIP editor is Werner. He raised stuff, but he will also be monitoring when is it ready to be voted. But it will be like a collective discussion, perhaps with the foundation as well. But like, even if you just look at the PR itself, you can kind of see when it will be ready. Hello?
Yeah. Well, I'm sorry. Yeah. Well, I didn't hear a question. What was? You were just saying it will be up to the SIP editors, really the SIP editors and the SIP author to collectively decide that it's ready to move forward, and then from there, I think the process is it goes to the cabs
Relevant caps, yes.
relevant cabs, and then the relevant cabs have probably a 2-week period, maybe.
Yeah, which is I think this SIP that I did is trying to address some of those, define some of those process. So I think we can even add a little bit more colors to the beginning part of this PR. I'm refining the SIP, but this PR that I posted does talk about once it gets to the cap, what time frame are we talking about? So it's a little bit more defined here. So if we want to add some of the earlier processes into this document, I think will be kind of helpful actually. And then based on this refined process, we can map it onto zero authority DAO, because we just talked about from forum to making a PR to resolving the comments to the SIP editor having a judgment call whether it's ready or not for the caps vote. So I think these can be reflected onto zero. Hadi, what do you think?
Yeah, it's good. So just to clarify, we've got form post into SIP call and then into PR.
Yeah, I think if you asked me 1 year ago, I will give you a looser answer. Say, come to the zip code. You know, they can post a direct PR. They don't even have to post a forum. But I think over the learning over the past year, we can probably all agree that it's useful to post on the forum. So I would say forum, come to Zipco,
Visit the
make a
relevant
PR.
working groups. Maybe even before the PR, maybe
Yes.
any relevant working groups, get some feedback from them.
Correct.
Yeah, if there's any relevant working group, I think I'm just trying to think back any other PR that doesn't apply, but in general, I think it should apply. And it will probably be a mostly technical SIPs, right? And mostly technical SIPs will probably be shepherded into Clarity working group. But for example, like the SIP 31 or the endowment SIP, we wouldn't shepherd them into Clarity working group. We are like the governance guy, so we shepherd to ourselves. The XBTC one, this one SIP, let me see. Improve stacking. I think most of them like you shepherd into Clarity working group, actually. Yeah, so I would agree with you there, Peace and Hadi. Forum post, SIPCO, working group, PR, resolving comments on PR, caps, community-wide vote if need be.
So I was trying to run through it. So when you say cabs, after cabs, is there a steering committee or is the vote before the steering committee?
Steering committee doesn't really do a lot. They just make sure the whole process is like sound and fair. If there's any issue, they will raise it, but they don't really do much of approval, except for, yeah, like caps voted. They are essentially the one to merge into this place. So
would it make sense though
so
that
they will just
we don't have a lot of disagreement on things usually, but would it make sense, would it stand to reason that the steering committee might also kind of be there to resolve things if there's like discrepancies between the cabs or anything like that? Like, is that kind of their role too?
Yeah, so historically, steering committee are made of people who are technical and non-technical. Jude is a technical person. He actually goes into the PR and make comments just like Werner did. So he's already familiar with the process. And if there's any issues with caps voting, like he could, raise something. Or for example, like there was a time when we didn't have sufficient number of people maybe in the caps. So we probably like our steering committee, like, okay, how do we deal this? Are we okay to have a solution this way? It's more to do with maybe solving the governance process sometimes, rather than they give like stamps approval for something.
Okay, so there's a question I have is the SIP call going to be triage hand holding? So that's the role. So you have forum post, then they come in SIP call. We define whether it's working group or not. Then they'll go off and create their PR. The question I have between PR creation and SIP editors and comments is, where do the three of us fit in outside of the call?
Outside of the call, in my opinion, because we don't need to build in like a SIP like residence or like me or a SIP lead or something like that. I think we should all morph into the SIP editors group, because we are essentially doing part of the SIP editors role. I think there's two types, you could argue, SIP editors, and I see that in Bitcoin too. They have the BIP editors making a weekly stream. They get the SIP author come and talk about their stuff. The BIP editor actually go through all the issues, or the new issues and the PRs in the repo. So we are essentially doing part of the SIP editor's role. So you could argue like the SIP deputies, or let's just call ourselves SIP editors, but we are not editing stuff. We are more on the marketing side, but we could become an editor. But let's say somebody technical is probably more suited to do the editor part. But we would be, if I were to slot ourselves anywhere in the process without adding extra, without creating any new groups to overcomplicate the process, I would say you have the authors, you have the caps, those are pretty clearly defined. We would sit in the SIP editing group, working along with the SIP editors on marketing, on coordination, on commenting. We can comment on this. We just did today on Fridger stuff. And we would work alongside the SIP editors in that group. Yeah, so that's my take.
Okay.
Sorry,
Sorry.
go ahead, Eric.
No, sorry. I say that's awesome, because I think that means that now builds out the pathway where we had the problem about how do we get more editors. This is the pathway. You come and join the SIP calls, you interact on the SIPs, then you can move into an editor role, and then we're now building those future editors.
Well, and can we maybe just suggest that sometimes editing doesn't necessarily mean writing the SIP so much as providing feedback for how it should be worded and or what it should be doing. So it's more input editing than just editing the actual like document.
Typically in the Bitcoin world, they do both. They do the editing of, for example, somebody mentioned layer, I think, as a category. That's a very editorial related stuff. It wasn't like input Werner did, but he also at the same time, just naturally, when he go through the document, he mentioned some other non-editorial, maybe feedback, I would imagine. But this one is layer, like one of the fields that he or she needs to fill out. So this is a very editorial question, but there are some other ones that to do with other type of comments. When an editor go through the whole document itself, you could be doing both roles, like inputting feedback, but also commenting on editorial stuff as you see it. So I think you're gonna have two types of people. One type like us, non-technical, who would feedback more from an editorial, maybe the non-technical side, but then you would have the technical people feeding back the technical side of stuff. I would think.
Sure, and that makes sense.
But no single editor group of people can give a holistic feedback. It's impossible for even if we have the best SIP editors group, it's not enough to feedback to any particular proposal, because really we need like we need eyes of the whole community to give different perspectives,
The more the better.
which extend. Yeah, and for example, like even if we are the best editor, we wouldn't be able to give like really good feedback on Larry's stuff. It require specific stakeholders to give the right feedback that editors just cannot achieve.
Right. And that doesn't mean that other people that without those skills, non-technical people, can't provide valuable feedback, but you can't provide all of the feedback that's needed for a technical SIP. And I think that was like,
yeah,
my concern would be like, if
sure.
I were to be an editor, I would get very apprehensive about editing anything that had to do with technical stuff, because I don't know what I don't know. Where if I think I'm just fixing some grammar, but I could actually change something that's important that I wouldn't even notice.
Yeah, I think in that case is about knowing who should be feeding back the technical side of stuff, and just like give a gentle nudge to those people to feedback, because quite often they are not like watching this, on a daily basis, right? So, and they got their busy life, busy developing their own stuff. So it's how to get their attention to feedback a specific stuff, because as you can see, like feeding back, it's not like a 1-minute job. It's like, it takes time to read somebody's stuff, think about it, type something up that is sensible and relevant. So often it's actually just getting the right people's attention and their time. But the feedback people, they are not going to get paid for that, for example, like directly. So that dynamic itself makes it more challenging than if we were in a Web 2 business environment, that we need to get specific departments' input because everybody is on the department's payroll,
Right. No, that makes a ton of sense.
So if I jump in, maybe the best thing here is, like, answering Peace's question, is we're not necessarily technical, but we can help flag, we can help answer certain questions or add input in GitHub. But we also have the other function of the forum of making sure that those conversations are continued and keeping up to date with those. So there's a dual role when you talk about the editorship, is maybe not just GitHub, it's also the forum, making sure that the conversation is continued is another aspect, I think.
So for example, I did take Timothy's example. I said, hey guys, maybe this is worth taking a look at that on the Clarity Working Group. Tim wasn't there, but I was acting as let's just call me like a SIP editor role, bringing this up so that they can discuss it and post like a feedback. So you could argue that I was doing that role, and then maybe what I can do right now today is say, hey, look, Tim, Clarity Working Group DM, Tim posted this, so I can help like to move the conversation on continuously. I might just do that, but I think Tim needs to do something before I do that, so I'll wait for him.
Cool.
Yep. I have an idea around X402 for this, but we can talk about that offline.
Okay. That's just wary of the time. Create a set of goal for SIP for 2026. For this one, we're gonna need to speak to the foundation. It's like a higher level stuff, and I think they're probably talking about it right now. So I think what I can do is pin Claire to see where the conversation is. All right. So I just want to show people this repo, just to make sure like everybody knows there is conversation that in addition to the forum, the encrypted NFT one is here and various other ideas are here. Just go and check it out. And last thing is, next week, there are full calls actually going on. I don't know if everybody is aware. There's a Stacks blockchain call on Tuesday.
What is that? I've never heard of that.
So essentially, it's the core developers call. They talk about the different stuff that's on the protocol level, because Clarity is not like, it's like a language. It's not really the node,
Right.
Well,
It's
I think
different.
part of it, but the softwares of how things propagate, the speed of stuff, 5 seconds or whatever, how that's actually achieved from a node speaking to another node, those kind of stuff. Those are kind of the blockchain stuff I'm talking about. And I think the SexP stuff is also, that's Clarity. Anyways, my point is on Tuesday, it's the Stacks blockchain call. It's at 10 o'clock. I don't know if we can stream that, but it'd be a good one to join, to listen for the first time for everybody.
Happy to if they don't have a problem with us carrying it, I'm happy to carry it.
Yeah, I think it's better to ask them. So
Yeah.
I think if we jump on the call, and then we can see how they feel about that. Some working groups prefer to be private, so we need to respect the privacy. But I think it's hosted by Stacks Labs, but there will be Stacks Foundation developers too. So it's like the core developer, the core contributors talking about PRs and issues, stuff like that. Tuesday at 10, and then AIBTC working group at 12:30, and Stacks Town Hall on Wednesday at 10, and then SIPCO Friday at 10:30. So
Lots
just wanna
happening.
make sure people. Yeah. So that's all for me. Anything else, guys?
That's all I had for today. Lots going on. I do want to just shout out a lot of the apps that are testing. I did get to play with Stacks Pots the other day, doing some fun stuff with Pillar and the smart wallet development that they're doing over there. I played with HBTC. That's going to be really cool when that gets out there. V2 for Zest, also nice and smooth, working well. So those are I think that's all I've been playing around with this week. That's all I got. I mean, just lots of cool stuff happening in this space. We're super fortunate to have all of these things coming together, building through this mini bear market, and the future of Stack is bright with all of this, improvement and innovation going on. I love being here with you guys too. That's all I got. Anything else from you, Hattie?
No, nothing. Obviously, just deep in the weeds with Zero Authority, obviously. So everyone's seen it. Hero shared it today, the tracking tool. And then we've obviously got D-Grants as well, which is on Zero Authority. So you and I are on that piece. And Hero Game is the founder or the creator of D-Grants. So that's obviously, we're in the final 2 weeks of that. So looking forward to cohort 4, to be honest.
Oh, yes.
What's the completion rate? Like, has most of the project out of, 20 something or 30 projects, how many have completed? Oh, how many haven't? I guess majority have completed.
I've only one is completed fully on mine. I think, Peace, you've got a few more, haven't you?
2 out of 6 have completed all their milestones, including the Stacks AI Guild, which Hero is running and did an amazing job, by the way. And then it was Stacks AI Guild and Fabo Hacks' B-Box are completed.
Oh, yeah.
Melanie's got 2 out of 3. Truth Chain just got their 2nd out of 3. He actually said he's just waiting on something from Chrome Store to complete milestone 3, so they're well on their way to completing. The DH3 project, they're working on they're doing their second milestone is doing a facelift for Bitflow. They're doing some UI UX stuff, and it was their second. Yeah, so I'm really excited about that to see where because they did a great job with I forget what it was called, Move or something. There was a one of the apps at from Hacker House. They were doing they did a UI UX for, and that looks really great. And they've already submitted that one. So Melanie's got 2 out of 3 on her milestone, so she's got one more to come. And then the other one was White Ovi Mars with his he's doing like a Stacksworks gig marketplace type of thing. And he should be completed by the deadline, although he's probably pushing that February 6th cutoff date. But we're largely. I think we'll have all 6 of ours completed from my track, which is I had a smaller track, less to follow up on, so it was a little bit easier from my from my angle than some of the bigger tracks.
Yeah, I just want to say welcome to my previous world where, as all this, we can predict, we can try and predict what people want to complete, but along the process, there will be a lot of like situations where you have to, everybody will need to pivot or manage the different deliveries. It's not always going to be the same as what you wrote initially.
Right. And we do have some good takeaways to take into cohort 4 too, with maybe a little bit more deliberation before proposals, or a little bit of time between when they make their proposals and we can kind of go over them before they're finalized and we make our decisions, just to kind of help iron out some things and make sure that I think there was almost like not quite enough time leading into. I think we had a little bit more time with cohort 2. We weren't as rushed getting the from when we first started talking about them and having the spaces to when people had to get their applications in. I think there was a little bit more time, and I think that would be that's one of my takeaways, is that we would have a little bit more time to discuss publicly and get involved at the proposal level before we have to make decisions, so we can give more feedback ahead of when we have to decide which projects we're going to move forward with.
Cool.
Stop me from rambling. It's the end of the show. We're supposed to be closing down.
Yes. Yeah, I gotta shoot. I actually gotta write all the notes up before I take my flight. From next week, I'll be on a different time zone, but I'll still be here. I'll be working.
Nice. Are you going somewhere nice? Is it work or pleasure?
No, it's just to see the family.
Oh, well, that's nice. That's nice.
Yeah.
You sound excited.
We wrap it up.
That's it. Another great episode of the Stacks Improvement and Community Innovation Show. Thank you so much, Hero and Hattie and Tim, for joining us. Great conversations. So many things to talk about going on in the ecosystem. And guys, we do this every week, so don't be a stranger. And we will have more content throughout the day as we run our daily live streams. Again, thank you, Hattie. Thank you, Hero. You all have a great weekend. Make sure you get out and touch some grass. And we'll see you next week. Peace out.
Cheers.
Set call spinning up Friday in the frame.